Hey, I'm Mike O'Dowd, and I'm here today with Rob Chadwick, the Director of Training with USCCA, and we're here to talk to you guys about less than lethal weapons. Now, Rob, I know you have a ton of experience with less than lethal. Can you kind of give a rundown about what less than lethal is and why, some of the advantages to using like a gun or something else?
Well, I always talk about security comes with options, right? And if you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And if all you have is a gun, all you can do is shoot somebody with it, right?
Yeah.
And so, to use a non-lethal, less than lethal, less lethal option is something that, one, it's just a good idea to have, okay? It gives you options. Two, there are plenty of environments that are non-permissive, right? So you cannot carry, it's illegal to carry a firearm into like a post office or, certain buildings that are posted no firearms allowed. In most cases, you can carry a less lethal option, whether it's a can of pepper spray or something like that. So it just gives you something more, a wider variety, a tool belt so to work with.
For a lot of the people at home, we've heard the terms less than lethal, non-lethal. Why do we call it less than lethal? Like, is there a difference? Or are they all kind of the same?
These things are not designed to kill people, right? But they can.
Yeah.
All right. So, for example, you could hit somebody with a baton. It's not designed to kill them, but if you hit them accidentally in the wrong place, it could certainly kill them. Much less likelihood of a lethal outcome, but still possibility that it could result in very serious injury or death.
Why we're here today is we are going to be testing these out. So first we're going to talk through kind of the pros and cons of each and show you guys each one. We are not selling a specific brand or a specific category. We want to show you the different categories that there are as options and then let you make the best informed decision. Rob, in law enforcement, your background, what is your thoughts on sprays?
Great tool. I carried one for years. Every single day I was on the street, I had a little can of Saber pepper spray, and Saber's one of our partners here, and I think they produce over half the pepper spray in the world. So what I love about it is battle tested, and I literally stake my life on the efficacy of these tools. And so the pepper spray, I can assure you, highly effective. Intermediate weapon type is pretty close range. It's very effective, but especially a spray, got a little bit of a cloud.
Yeah.
So you can expect you're going to get some of that blowback on you. Well, something you got to plan for.
Yeah, is that something of the cons? Do you think that's probably the biggest con for spray? Is that user?
Yeah, it's user contamination and possibly innocent bystander contamination and the proximity, right? It's a close contact weapon. You're only talking a few feet.
In your experience, how effective is it on people?
Very. For the most part, it's extremely effective on most people. Certainly there are people that, you've seen these chicken eating, hot chicken wing eating contests where and it's the same stuff, right? Those peppers don't affect certain people. That's very rare though.
Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely not one of those people.
Me neither.
So for this, we're actually showing some of the ASP. It's more of like a Kubotan design. When you're fighting, hands are usually up in this kind of a position and you're able to engage the button to spray. It gives you a nice little spray out the front. Also the Kubotan, if you guys have ever been able to fight with that, you can use it essentially the same way you would use a knife in defense, kind of blocking strikes and able to strike as well. Pretty good design, heavy duty metal, great aluminum it looks like.
One of the things I really like about the design here too is it's designed to be used in a natural fighting stance, right? So when someone is attacking you, typically you want to raise those hands to block your vital areas, your throat, your neck, and this is kind of positioned that to spray what they call their shield area, right? It creates a barrier between you and the bad guy.
I really like that it doesn't look like pepper spray.
Right.
It just looks like something you'd have on your key or maybe a pen, something that's pretty like low vis.
Yeah, the other thing is too, you're more likely to carry that, right? Like you just throw it in your pocket, throw it in your bag or whatever. A weapon is only as good if you've got it. And
100%.
It sucks to have your can of pepper spray or your pistol back in the car and you need it right then.
Yeah, the other feature this one has is it's kind of a thumb release on the safety. So you twist it to the side and then you're able to spray. That is the only thing I would see as a potential learning curve that you need to train that to be able to know when and how to activate the safety. otherwise it seems pretty straightforward.
Great little piece of kit, and as with any tool, right, you want to train with it so that when you're under stress, and certainly a stressful situation, somebody's attacking you, train with it ahead of time so that you're not fumbling around, because you're going to lose some dexterity in that moment.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next product we have is, it looks like the standard deployment of pepper spray, the little flick top with your thumb and then press down, but this is actually a pepper gel. Rob, do you have experience with pepper gel?
A little bit, yeah. So your spray obviously is more of a mist or cloud, less precise, more area. This is obviously very precise, right? It's designed to be a little bit further out,
okay,
but you got to be more precise, right? You want to get into those mucous membranes, the eyes, the nose, the mouth, that type of thing. So, again, pros and cons of both.
Yeah.
This is going to stay on a little bit longer because it's a little more, it'll adhere to the skin a little bit better.
Got it. And this product's from Saber. Kind of neat features. It's pepper gel, but also it has an active dye in it. So when you spray somebody with it, it stays on them, and probably helps law enforcement determine like who the bad guy is.
Yeah, you see a guy running down the street, it's like, something just happened there.
Yeah. So the next product we have, also by Saber. This one's pretty unique in my opinion because it's both a sound alarm, very, very loud alarm, as well as the pepper spray inside of it.
Great little product there. Obviously, you've got your defensive capability in the pepper spray, but the other thing that's built in here is a personal body alarm. And the last thing an attacker wants is attention, right? And what you're doing with this body alarm is saying, hey, there's something going on here. It's hopefully causing people to take notice of what's happening and maybe bringing help to you.
I really like the idea of being able to like send help.
Right.
Please come help with this loud noise, and then also be able to fight back.
That's right.
Something I noticed on this, there are quite a few buttons and things to pull out. So, as always, what we say to people, it doesn't matter what weapon you have. If you don't train it, like you don't have it. So this is the kind of thing where you want to actually be able to operate it with eyes closed. Be able to just feel it in your purse or in your backpack, pull it out, and not have to think about it or look at it to activate it. So we showed a few different products. Is there anything that you prefer to use?
Well, this is kind of my go-to, Mike. Yeah, not quite as portable, but yeah, this is it's made by Saber. It's a home defense, obviously large canister, pepper gel. So from a distance, you got good range on this and quite a bit of volume.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's almost think of it like a fire extinguisher that actually has a wall mount. You can mount by your bed or by your door, but yeah, it's just something you're clearly not going to put this in your purse or in your pocket. But yeah, as a nice little less lethal option.
This seems like something you might want to have by like your door or someplace where you can stronghold.
Yeah, something, again, familiarity, right? You know how to deploy it, you know how to take the safety out. Don't make the first time you ever have to use something when it's for all the marbles.
This one seems intuitive too on where to spray. Yeah. Like, something like this. With my eyes closed, I feel like I could accidentally spray myself, potentially.
Sure.
Not saying it could, but without any training, maybe you could. That seems pretty
much
intuitive.
More definitive.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, but obviously much bigger.
Much bigger, yeah. All right, so another category we're going to talk about is the baton category. Now, this is something that a lot of the civilian market doesn't have access to this because in some places it's legal, some places it's not. But to have a collapsible baton like this one is from ASP. Actually, both of these are from ASP, and they're kind of the gold standard in batons. The nice thing about these are they do have a push button collapse, which is really neat. You don't have to slam it on the ground.
This model is actually called the Agent, and ASP developed this for the FBI. We wanted something a little more discreet, a little more, something you could hide in your jacket or under your suit coat, that sort of thing, but still with the ability to quickly, open up something with a striking, capability. So well designed piece of kit, and as you said, that push button collapse. When I was on the street as a young policeman, you had to kneel and just jam it down, that friction lock. They still make those,
yeah.
But this is a lot more, it actually prevents you from getting in that compromising position, kneeling and having to strike it on the ground. So nice little piece of kit, and unfortunately had to use it quite a bit on the street.
I'm sure. Why do you think these are so regulated? Because to a layperson, you might look at this and go, well, I can shoot somebody with electricity, pepper, why can't I just hit them with this tool? Because it gives you a pretty decent advantage.
A lot of those laws go back, over 100 years. Sort of like the gangster era, right, with the brass knuckles and the blackjacks and what they would call like a hooligan type of device. And unfortunately, these things get lumped in with those. And it's very important for people to realize these are much more restricted in many places than an actual firearm.
Pretty much, if you can buy it, doesn't necessarily mean you're allowed to carry it and use it. So check the laws in your area. For people who have these, something that's really great about them is the ability to extend and offset the distance from you and the threat. As most, knives, fists, anything where I have to be close to somebody, that's a big threat. If Rob were to have a blade on him, or brass knuckles even, that's a big advantage for him. But I'm able to now offset by another, 12 to 18 inches and strike and move back. So these can be, a really big advantage for you.
Yeah, and even collapsed is still an effective way to get somebody off of you and create some distance.
Yeah, very cool. What do you see as some of the limitations of these?
Well, again, it's a close range weapon, right? They're not right on you, and it does require some strength. If you're a smaller, weaker person and you swing this at someone who's much larger, you're probably not going to have the same effect, right? But it's still a very effective weapon. But again, it's all in technique and how you use it and the force you're able to deliver behind it.
Yeah. The way I see these is, of all the things you need to train, this is probably the most intense or intensive of the trainings, because there's no ease of use of just flick a button and press or spray or sound an alarm. This is something where you actually have to fight. So even though you carry this and it is a pretty decent advantage, you are now in full combat and you have to be able to fight. So this isn't something I would give to like my grandma and say, here you go, defend yourself. Next category we're going to cover is less than lethal launchers. So they look like guns, they look like firearms, but they are not firearms. They're just firing or launching projectiles, .68 caliber rounds like a paintball. But this is not your average paintball. Think like a frozen paintball, like very, very hard plastic. And these are the training rounds, but they are often filled with, pepper spray. So the two brands that we have right now, we have a Burn-A-Gun, which has been quite popular, especially around here with all the civilian use. We also have a Saber, another brand of it. You can just tell just by the look, the difference is they're still bright colors, so not to be confused with an actual firearm. This one is a bit more compact, and we've been noticing on the Saber it actually holds a few more rounds, so something to consider.
Yeah, it's got a traditional pistol sight on both. Both have a little Picatinny rail, so you can add either a light or maybe a laser optic or laser pointer if you wanted, that sort of thing. But yeah, both clearly decent option for home defense, and again gives you more of that standoff option, a little bit greater range.
Yeah, and here's the best part about these is since they aren't firearms, you don't need a permit to carry these. Fits in a backpack, fits in a purse, technically even fits in your waistband if you needed to, but it is a very good deterrent if firearms wasn't your thing, or if it's for somebody who, let's say, doesn't train with a firearm.
Yeah, so you just simply
Standard
put in the
magazine.
magazine, insert just like you would a firearm. Give it a tug and it's good to go.
Okay. And then what is the mechanism that's firing it? There's no primer, so what is it?
CO2. So there's a CO2 cartridge in both of these, and it basically is ejected through force of air, just like a BB gun or just like a paintball gun.
So with the Byrna, we're looking at, the packaging says 280 feet per second, and then it also says max effective range of 50 feet. And we were told at about 60 feet, you're hitting a IPSC silhouette pretty consistently.
Yeah, remember, it's a rounded ball, right? It's not rifled, so it's going to start picking up some wobble as it goes out further. But 50 to 60 feet, still a pretty good standoff range.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go ahead and test this out, kind of just look at the mechanics of it and then fire it a couple times. Something that's actually really cool about this Burn-A-Gun is you put the CO2 in the front and you screw it down, and the magazines actually have a built-in, like an Allen wrench, so you can crank it down. You're never without a tool. You're never looking for an Allen wrench. I think that's a pretty nifty feature. You put in the magazine and then you're good to go. The CO2 canister will actually stay essentially indefinitely because it's not punctured yet. And then when you pull the trigger, it punctures and fires off the first shot. So it's actually pretty great if you have to store it for a while. You don't have to worry about pre-puncturing and then the CO2 leaking out. Oh, that was good. Oh, that was better. All right, so that actually had a pretty significant blast to it. For some reason, the first one had a lower velocity. Maybe it was just because it had never been tried before, but afterwards, those were pretty hot rounds coming out of here. I haven't felt it yet, so I don't know what it feels like, but I can tell you just from what I saw, I don't really want to get hit by this at all. There was no kick. Something I liked about it, there was absolutely no kick. The trigger had a longer pull, more like, like a revolver, but it was quite light, easy to use. And then this safety is very intuitive because most safeties are 1911 style. They drop down like this, thumb safety, so it does come off safe fairly quickly. But as always, if you run a gun with a safety or any tool that has a safety, you always want to train it and master that muscle memory so that under stress you don't forget to hit the safety and then the weapon doesn't fire. The next category we want to talk about is actually the one I'm most afraid of, and that's, what is this? What do you call this?
Energy weapons.
Energy
right?
weapons.
Yeah.
So Taser is a brand that we're using here. This is basically just electricity through your body. The product I have is a Taser Strike Light 2. It's a flashlight that also turns on, and you have the power to shock on contact. But what we really came here to talk about was this.
Yeah, so this is the Pulse, and it's important to note, Mike. So you've got a stun gun in the Strike Light 2, and that really is not going to incapacitate. It's going to hurt. It's going to create distance, but it's not going to. You see in movies sometimes somebody touches you with a stun gun and you fall.
Out.
Yeah, that's completely unrealistic. It is a pain compliance type of thing. It'll get you to get away from me. But this the Taser actually shoots a projectile, actually two projectiles, connected by wire, and it is a conducted energy weapon. All right, so Taser, T-A-S-E-R, stands for Thomas A. Swift's electric rifle. And the guy that founded the company is a little bit of a science fiction guy, and just kind of a neat concept. But what this does is, this is a completely energy-based weapon. It's not a firearm at all. Has a cartridge. It's a one-shot weapon. This is the Pulse. It's a standoff type of you can see it's almost like a form factor like a gun. And it functions like a gun, aims like a gun. You fire it, and we'll fire it here in a second to show you how easy it is. Effective range anywhere 12 to 15 feet. But what this is designed to do is achieve what we call neuromuscular incapacitation, NMI. And it'll basically run electricity through your muscles and interrupt your normal physical ability to control yourself and incapacitate you.
Awesome.
Yeah, so good luck with that. This is the Taser Pulse. This is the cartridge that goes into it. There's only one way to insert the cartridge. You'll see that there's a little electrode here and here. Those match up interior inside the weapon itself. Simply click it, make sure that my hand's not in front of the blast doors. Click it until it seats. You hear that nice definitive click. All right, now the weapon is loaded. It's not armed yet. Once I turn and face my target and I turn the safety off, you see that light comes on, indicates it's ready to shoot. You also probably realize that there's now a red laser downrange, right? That indicates the point of impact where the top dart is going to hit. All right, so I'll get into firing position here. I'm about 10 feet from the target. This is a conductive target, so this target will conduct electricity. All right, so present the weapon just like I would a firearm. It actually has sights just like a firearm would. Turn on the weapon. I'm looking to hit this target right here. So now you hear that electric cycling. That is actually sending electricity between the weapon and the target. Yeah, now is my opportunity to lay the weapon down and get away. Right? That's exactly what it was designed to do. And in a real self-defense incident, Taser will replace your weapon if you actually have to use it in self-defense. So lay the weapon down and run away, or if you needed to, all right, so that was 30 seconds. If I needed to re-engage that, if the guy starts getting back up, there it goes again, another 30-second ride, right? Again, not designed necessarily for that, but you do have plenty of electricity within the weapon itself. Now I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to interrupt that electric flow. And you can kind of see, if you guys want to move in here, on the copper wiring, very, very thin, but effective. okay? Another feature, Mike, that we talked about, so let's say the guy gets back up, I've already shot my shot. I could either, try to reload quickly, which is not the fastest thing, but I do have that drive stun feature. So take it back off of safety. If I pull the trigger, of course, it's already shot that one round, but I still have that drive stun effect, okay? Continue to strike with it just like a stun gun. So now it's just a stun weapon to keep somebody off of me.
Even with the cartridge inside?
Even with the cartridge, well, the expelled cartridge, the expended cartridge, right? So I could break these wires off if I needed to, right? I'm not gonna leave it if I wanted to have this as a drive stun device, but I could still, right? Same type of thing. You'll see the electric current dancing between the poles. See that?
So there you have some categories of less than lethal options. Hopefully you took something away from this video. Rob, do you have anything you want to add on this?
Yeah, just like we train with firearms, they're tools, right? And with anything, if you're gonna stake your life on something, you want to be trained with it, right? Don't make the first time you try to use it the first time you've ever messed with it. So anything, whether it's pepper gel or a baton or a taser device or a launcher, make sure you're very familiar with it. You understand the functionality of it, the capabilities of it, and the limitations of it. One of the things I always say is less lethal is a great option, but you always want to have that firearm as a last resort, right? And the firearm is always a last resort. This just gives you those intermediate tools. We
always say you are the weapon, this is a tool. And I think I couldn't agree more with that.
Absolutely.
Hey, before you go, make sure you check out the free giveaway that USCCA has going on right now. The link is below in the description where you can get all the details on how you can enter.